helping people with genealogy and stuff. So we're spend a short time with Paula. She's going to bring up a couple of her memories, and we're going to chat a little bit about that. Do you want to do this?
Yeah, why don't we switch this?
Say, Larry, a quick
Yes.
question.
Yes.
This is not limited to just St. Paul then, you can put memories in anywhere in the world.
Everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world.
Really?
And placing pins is really a cool thing. This is a fellow came up to me a couple months ago and said, so I kind of described the process, and he said, I said, you can put a pin anywhere you want to on the map and place your memories there. And he said, Larry, I kept a diary. He's an avid fisherman. I kept a diary of every lake I've fished since the mid-90s, every place on every lake I've fished, the pictures of the fish I caught. And I said, you are crazy. And then I said, you got to put this stuff on Lyfmap. So hopefully I can motivate him to put, that's an effort. But here's the thing. Let's take this as an example of how people can create new memories on Lyfmap, recent memories as well. Avid fisherman goes to Mille Lacs, fishes on a certain spot on the lake, posts his pictures up of what he caught, where he caught it. Other fishermen can see that pin and come back there the next day and say, hey, this guy spotted a great place for us. Maybe he doesn't want to give away his great spot, but maybe he's leaving town and doesn't care for the rest of the time, right? That's up to him. I can't regulate what people post on there. But just another example, or if you hike the Appalachian Trail or whatever, you played at a park as a child, you placed the pin and placed the
Or
pin.
had a hole in one.
You had a whole, you better put that on the course then.
Highland Golf Course.
Highland, all right. Excellent, yay. We want to see that, we want to see that. Actually, I've been starting to post a little bit of golf stuff. I have some stuff on Keller, some real old time images of Keller, of course.
Bar 3 up by the water tower.
Oh, cool, yeah. Yeah, we were at the tower a couple of years ago. That's my wife Linda, everybody. You don't need to applaud us. Okay, applaud Linda. I don't want to delay the proceedings, but she's a great help to me, and she always a voice in the ear when I'm getting astray. So she's, Larry, get to the point. So let's go to the point.
The only thing I've ever done at the water tower at Highland Golf Course was when we used to go sledding there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
I was born at St. Joseph's Hospital. I was baptized at St. Patrick's Church on the east side, and we lived at 770 Jenks. Upstairs. If you drive by the house, you'll wonder how we lived upstairs. My bed as a baby was in the bathroom. Thankfully then at some point, my parents decided they were going to build a house, post-World War II houses down in South Highland Park area, down by the Ford plant. So that's where you see the blue dot there, which is kind of hard to see on this one. 1080 Bedoin. So it says South Bedoin on Google Maps, only it's not South Bedoin, it's just Bedoin. So, that's what Google Maps says.
Let me cut in for just a quick second here, Paula. Google Maps is a great source, okay? They're not perfect. The key thing to watch for, and this is, I'll have to put this in an FAQ or something, obviously, but when there's compass directions involved, always make sure that it puts the pin at the place you expect it to be, right? Because Don Empson, great historian of the city streets of St. Paul, started throwing in a lot of information, right? And then he was putting stuff on Smith. Well, Smith has changed like north and south so many times, it's crazy. Well, he was posting stuff on North Smith, and it ended up on piled into a huge pile of pins because Google couldn't figure out where North Smith was. It was actually should have been on South Smith, but they had their compass directions messed up. So I called the city and I called Google, found out where the 0 point was for north south, had Google change it to the right spot. But it's still but that's like crazy effort. Just be aware of where you place the pin, okay? And always put in your content where you're if it doesn't make sense there, put it in your content because people can always search and find it. Okay. Sorry, Paul.
No, that's all right. Explanations
I
are
have
good.
another geographic comment, because
Okay.
you advised me not to use the geographic content.
Yes.
But if you, because I want to do 722 East 5th, well, if you do 722 5th,
Yes.
then it'll bring up a menu, and one of them will be east, and one of them might be west or north, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that can help you narrow it.
Yes, absolutely. That's a very good point. Yeah, never use the compass direction in your address entry. See what it offers you. You always want to click on the one that's offered anyways. Even if you're typing in the thing, it'll bring one up. You click on it, and then you're good.
I think you just kind of play around with it too.
Yeah, sure.
And I think the reason Google said South Bedoin is because South Cleveland is just a parallel street to it, and Bedoin is only 2 blocks long. So what I have though is, and this is actually live on there, 1950, my parents built the house.
That's it.
And that is our St. Bernard, that was Barney. So the house is still there, it's been remodeled a few times. I grew up in a yellow house, yellow fence, yellow kitchen, yellow everything.
How many square feet is that?
I don't know what it is, but
Tiny.
I have looked online, but I don't recall what it is. It was 3-bedroom rambler, you know.
It was 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, it was 3 bedrooms. And a full basement.
Like a closet.
But
Yeah.
where the yellow is, that arrow, that's the Ford plant. Today, there's all kinds of houses between this house and the Ford plant. Initially, the house was listed at 1,000 Bedoin Street, but then it became 1080 as they kind of redid things in that area.
Is it still there?
Yes, the house is still there. Yep, people are taking very good care of it. It was a wonderful place to play volleyball because it was a double wide lot on a corner. Ooh. I can tell you about the times we played volleyball as adults in that yard. Might have been a few libations involved.
Sounds like.
So, this is from the corner. This was the cottonwood tree there that I'm deathly allergic to, and I wouldn't let my father cut it down because it got huge. Guess what? It's now been cut down, gone diseased. But look at the dirt streets.
Yeah.
So, and I could tell you who lived in most of those houses. That was Simonette's, that was Limburg's, that was Talbot's.
So what year is this picture from?
1950
Okay.
is my estimation of that. But I remembered something, what I remembered is going to visit my great-grandparents in downtown St. Paul, and I haven't added this memory yet fully, I have to do it on Lyfmap. But, so I went to the 1948 St. Paul City Directory, and where the yellow is, there's my John T. Cook, his wife Violet. They were boarding at 251 North 9th, Apartment 5. There is no such thing as North 9th. It's West 9th.
Oh.
Subsequent city directories did say West 9th, so it was an error. So by, figuring out in old maps, I figured out I was able to put my point there because it's right there, doesn't exist anymore. But then I went ahead to the 1950 St. Paul City Directory and I looked at the reverse directory. So for that address on West 9th Street, I found out it's the Roosevelt Apartments and who else was living there. Now my memory that's on there is that I used to remember walking upstairs in that old building to visit my great-grandparents. And after my great-grandfather died, my great-grandmother, their son moved in with them, and he walked with crutches. I think he was injured in World War I. I still have to do more research on that. I kept thinking, how could he walk up all those stairs with crutches? But then I wanted to show you something else, because Angela promised us a little bit of genealogy. So then I wanted to find out more about John T. and Violet Cook on the 1940 census. So, here's an enlargement. John T. Cook and his wife Violet are living with their daughter Gertrude, and her husband, my grandfather, Morris Michael Hanley, and my mother Patricia and her sister Jeannie. Now what's really interesting is that I can trace through St. Paul City Directories, my family moved, and moved, and moved. I know that my grandfather wasn't real good at holding a job, might have been a little bit of drinking involved. And John T. Cook ran and lost many businesses. I will be posting on Lyfmap a wonderful picture of 1011 Portland. They lived at that house for a bunch of years until he lost another business. So you can trace your people a lot of different ways and find things. But I wanted to show you how that looked, because it's just kind of neat to be able to find the people. And in this one here, they were living at 894 Randolph Avenue. One of the many addresses they lived at. They lived, actually, John T. Cook's 3 sisters owned St. Paul Art and Bookshop in Catholic Art and Bookshop in downtown St. Paul on 5th Street. And they had a huge house at 358 Marshall, which Maggie Schwichtenberg, part of our group, she later lived there. And she had a picture of the house that she sent me that I didn't have. Today it's townhouses. Everything gets torn down. So that's my part. But I am doing the genealogy column. I've got a couple posts planned. And I just want you all, if you got some genealogy questions or you don't know how to find out about somebody, ask them on it. There's a real easy form to fill out, and I'd be glad to help you on there.
Where's your column, Paul?
If you look on the home page for Lyfmap, you gotta,
We can switch over.
Yeah.
Picture of you.
we'll switch over. My ugly face is up there at the top.
No. Smiling face.
My smiling face?
Yes.
Gotta
There it is.
reposition to a smaller screen here.
Yeah, because on my screen, it's on the
Yeah,
right
it should
side.
be over to the right,
Okay.
it's because of the projector right now.
So you just click on
Yep, click
my
on Ask-
face
Click on Ask
and,
Paula, just like that.
it's a wonderful picture of St. Paul.
Yeah. Then you can ask Paula
So
questions.
I told you about locating St. Paul study directories for those of us who live in the area. The next blog post is going to be, it's half written, about places across the country where people who moved away from here can find St. Paul study directories. And then the third one on this topic is gonna be about all the wonderful online resources for St. Paul study directories. Anything you wanna know more about, just let me know.
All of that information is or will be in your column then?
Yeah, the first part is all places around St. Paul that we can find city directories now. And I'm going to do subsequent posts on a lot of different topics, where to find these records.
Do you know if sometime in the near future the directories will be online?
A lot of St. Paul directories are online right now. Fold3.com, which is a subscription database, has them online up to 1923. That's when copyright law, I could talk about copyright forever, and I'm not a lawyer, so I won't. Ancestry.com has some. I can tell you, Minneapolis city directories are all online through the Minneapolis Public Library. I'm hoping.
23 on that.
Yeah, 23 up to that, but there's other sites online. I'll tell you about some of those in the column in the blog, so you'll know where to
Thank
find
you.
them. But until R.L. Polk with the later city directories agrees to let everybody publish them, we're gonna have a problem.
Let's give it up for Paula, everybody.